Okay, the last step is we're gonna tie the loop on the back of the sling, and in order to do that, you need to get a counterweight, and the counterweight goes on. By the way, the counterweight holder looks like this. This is just a crude design. All you have to do is get a paper clip, stretch it out till it's full size, and you're gonna have to bend it so that it can hold some 3/4 and 1/2 inch washers. And hold them in this manner here. So I'm not going to tell you how to do that. This is a little problem solving exercise. You can figure it out yourself. Just make sure you got at the bottom of this assembly that it flares out like this so that you can hold those washers and they stay in place. You can only put on a certain number of washers. You can't put on too many washers because you need to put this on top of the throwing arm like this. And the way this works is that counterweight provides the energy to launch the projectile. Now what I need to do now though is I need to tie a loop onto the end of this, but it's very important that you get the sling about, I would say that after you end up tying the loop, I'm going to tie it right now. The way you tie it is you fold, it should be about 12 inches. You fold about 3 inches on the end over like this, and then you take it and you make another loop, and the loop goes through the loop just like this. So it goes through just like this, and then you pull it tight, and now you have a loop like there that you can hook onto the trigger pin. I would take and cut this excess thread off like that, and then the way this works is you hook the loop on to the trigger pin, and let me hook it on and make sure it stays on, and you pull this in this fashion here, and you mount the trigger pin, goes on the trigger like this, and you put a projectile in the pouch, so that if you pull back, if you can see the whole trebuchet, you can see that the trigger pin steps out from the throwing arm. We have a projectile in there. We haven't put one in there yet, and we have a trigger pin here. When we want to release the projectile, I just come back here, I put the projectile in there, make sure it's nice and snug. I make sure that these two ends of the sling, the one in the bottom and the top, are the same length, and then I pull this. But they both have to be taut. They both have to be tight, and then you do that, and you can see that as the throwing arm moves downward, that this side of the throwing arm moves downward, this side moves upward with the sling, and then when this end of the sling comes loose, that's when the projectile will be released from the pouch. And if it's at the right time, you can throw a projectile a fairly long distance relative to the size of this trebuchet. And I will demonstrate that in the next video. Thank you.